Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are embarking on a journey to one of the absolutely most culturally significant landmarks on the planet, Mount Tai. Located right in central Shandong province, this isn't just a physical peak, you guys. It is a literal spiritual totem that has held the Chinese imagination captive for thousands of years. But let's be real, tackling a mountain this legendary can be seriously intimidating. Where do you even start? What if you're traveling with older family members who can't hike all day? Well, today we are going to break down the history, the absolute best mountain climbing routes, and everything you need to know to reach the summit of emperors. To truly grasp the sheer weight of this mountain, we got to look at who actually walked these steps before us. I mean, even the ancient philosopher Confucius felt that profound perspective shift that happens when you reach the top. He famously remarked that climbing Mount Tai makes the world look small, and he certainly wasn't the only one drawn to it. Throughout history, 13 different dynasties of emperors personally climbed this mountain to hold ceremonies, pray to heaven, and solidify their rule. So when you climb Mount Tai, you are quite literally walking in the footsteps of giants.
So, how do we tackle this? Here is our itinerary for today. 1. China's most sacred mountain. 2. Choosing your ideal route. 3. Accessible options for seniors. 4. Journey up the classic trail. And finally, 5. The summit and sunrise. Consider this your essential survival guide for both the history and logistics of the mountain.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, China's most sacred mountain.
You know, Mount Tai is so deeply embedded in everyday life that if you've ever held a 5 RMB banknote in your hand, you've already seen it. Right on the back of the note, there's a famous century-old stone carving from the mountain that reads Wu Yo Du Tsun, which basically translates to the most revered of the 5 sacred mountains. Since ancient times, it's been the ultimate symbol of a peaceful and prosperous nation.
But it's not just about ancient emperors and currency. Mount Tai is a living, breathing religious center. Right at the heart of this is Biksha Yanjun, the goddess of Mount Tai. Her temple sits way up high in the clouds, and get this, it was originally built during the Song dynasty using bronze and iron tiles just to withstand lightning strikes. Today, it's a massive pilgrimage site. Every spring, on the 15th day of the 3rd lunar month, a huge temple fair takes place, drawing hundreds of thousands of worshippers. It's truly one of the grandest folk activities in all of northern China.
Moving on to Section 2, choosing your ideal route.
So when you finally arrive at the base, you'll actually find anywhere from 7 to 10 different paths leading up. Kind of overwhelming, right? Well, actually, scratch that. It's more like we can cleanly categorize them into 4 main routes, depending on your travel style. The central route is the classic, historic path. We'll definitely cover that in depth in a minute. Then there's the west route, which is highly accessible using modern transport. The Peach Blossom route on the west side is considered super romantic, especially in spring, but it's pretty far from the city center, so it's mostly for folks driving themselves. And finally, the northern routes. Those are rugged, unpolished, and basically tailor-made for hardcore outdoor sports lovers.
Because Mount Tai is totally a multi-generational destination, we need to talk about Section 3, accessible options for seniors.
The absolute most crucial takeaway here is that you really don't have to climb thousands of grueling stairs to experience Mount Tai. If you're traveling with seniors, or let's be honest, if you just aren't up for a massive hike, the west route is your best friend. It's a super smooth combination of road and cable car. Step 1. You just grab a minibus from Tianwei-kun at the base up to the halfway point called Sungtianmen. That takes about 20 minutes and is only 35 RMB. Step 2. From Sungtianmen, you hop right onto a cable car. For 100 RMB, this sweeps you all the way up to Nantianmen, the heavenly gates at the summit, in just 10 minutes.
The biggest perk here, taking the west route completely eliminates the exhausting climb, meaning a completely stress-free trip, while still giving you these absolutely stunning aerial views from the cable car. Most importantly, it saves your energy. As you'll see in a bit, the summit area itself is massive, like 1.6 square kilometers massive, so you will absolutely want your legs feeling fresh to explore all the peaks and temples at the very top.
But hey, what if you do want that physical challenge? Let's dive into Section 4, Journey Up the Classic Trail.
This timeline lays out the spatial progression of the central route. It's literally a chronological walk through history. You start all the way at the bottom, at the Dai Temple, which is this gorgeous ancient complex from the Han Dynasty. From there, you walk to Hongmen, or the Red Gate, which is pretty much the true starting point of the climb. You'll hike up past temples and pavilions for a few hours until you hit Zongtianmen, the halfway point. From there, it's a direct, seriously steep ascent up the infamous 18 Pan to the summit gates.
The real beauty of taking the central route is that the mountain itself serves as this colossal, open-air museum. Take the Diamond Sutra carving near the Domu Palace, for instance. Just imagine a colossal 3,000 square meter rock face, completely etched with the text of the Buddhist Diamond Sutra. And these characters, which were carved way back during the Northern Qi dynasty, are half a meter wide. It is celebrated as a total masterpiece of calligraphy and is for sure one of Mount Tai's greatest wonders.
And the trail is just packed with these fantastic little micro-narratives to bring the history alive. Like as you pass the Yumbu Bridge, you'll spot a famous tree known as the Five Ministers Pine. According to legend, Qin Shi Huang, the very first emperor of China, was climbing Mount Tai when he was caught in a sudden violent rainstorm. So he actually took shelter under this exact pine tree. Grateful for its protection, the emperor literally bestowed the noble title of Five Ministers upon the tree. How cool is that?
But, historical charm really only gets you so far, because eventually you hit the 18 pan. This is the undeniable soul of Mount Tai, and the final, most treacherous section before the summit. 1630. That is the staggering number of stone steps you have to conquer in this single section alone. It's a grueling, relentless staircase embedded directly into the cliffside between two sheer mountain walls.
And hey, if 1,630 steps doesn't sound too bad to you, consider this number, 70. Yeah, these steps are pitched at a terrifying 70-degree slope, climbing 400 vertical meters. From a distance, it honestly looks like a ladder leading straight up into heaven. This is exactly why those accessible transportation options we discussed earlier are so incredibly valuable. For those who do choose to hike it, the 18 pan requires everything you've got. But once you push through that final step, you arrive at Nantianmen, the South Heavenly Gate.
Which brings us to our final stop. Section 5, the summit and sunrise.
Because eventually, all these paths converge at the breathtaking summit area. The absolute highest point of Mount Tai is the Jade Emperor Peak, soaring 1,545 meters above sea level. When you stand next to the stone marker at this elevation, looking down at the world below, Confucius's words finally make perfect sense. You are literally high above the clouds. Up here, you are treated to what are officially known as the four great spectacles of the peak. It's an extraordinary reward for making it to the top. On a clear day, you can see the golden belt of the Yellow River winding far in the distance. Right below you rolls the jade plate of the Sea of Clouds. In the evening, you get this mesmerizing sunset glow, and if the atmospheric conditions are just perfect, you might even witness the auspicious halo, a magical ring of rainbow light.
But the undisputed main event, literally the reason countless travelers and 13 dynasties of emperors made this crazy trek, happens right at dawn. At Rigwan Peak, people will wait in the freezing cold for hours just to witness the legendary Mount Tai sunrise. You watch the eastern sky transition from pitch black to white to red and finally to a brilliant bursting gold. The moment that sun leaps out from the sea of clouds, bathing the ancient stones in light, is nothing short of transcendent.
It's an experience that just instantly connects you to the vast river of Chinese history. Whether you hiked every single one of those 1,630 steps on the 18 pan, or you took the super smooth, accessible cable car up the west route, the feeling at the top is exactly the same. Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder. When you finally stand at the summit of Mount Tai, tracing the footsteps of ancient emperors, do you conquer the mountain, or does the mountain conquer you? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.